The Trump administration is threatening to send National Guard troops to more cities after taking control of the D.C. police. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Donald Trump's always laser focused on the important stuff. No, not inflation, not healthcare, not jobs. He's focused on giving himself an award.
Since 1978, the Kennedy Center Honors have been among the most prestigious awards in the performing arts. I wanted one. I was never able to get one. This year, it's true, actually. I would have taken it if they would have called me. I waited and waited and waited, and I said, the hell with it. I'll become chairman, and I'll give myself an honor. Maybe I'm going to honor, next year we'll honor Trump, okay?
I like how everyone laughs at him, and then he says, well, it's true, actually. Second, he's definitely not joking about giving himself an award. This is a guy who made a fake Time magazine cover for himself to hang on his wall and repeatedly claimed that he won an award called Michigan Man of the Year, despite the fact that the state does not give out a Man of the Year award, and Trump has never lived in Michigan. I have no trouble believing that he'd give himself a made-up award called the Kennedy Center Lifetime Achievement Nobel Prize EGOT Award for most everything. And the award will just be like a little golden statue of himself getting an award. Trump also announced that he'll be hosting the Kennedy Center Honors this year, despite claiming he didn't want to because, you know, he has more important stuff to do.
I've been asked to host. I said, I'm the president of the United States. Are you fools asking me to do that? Sir, you'll get much higher ratings. I said, I don't care. I'm president of the United States. I won't do it. They said, please. And then Susie Wells said to me, sir, I'd like you to host. I said, okay, Susie, I'll do it.
Well, I think you deserve the award for Best Original Screenplay because that's definitely a fake conversation that did not happen. No part of that. You fools! You fools! They said, sir, we want you to host. And I said, you're fools. I'm so busy. And they said, the ratings will be huge because everyone loves you. And I said, that's true. And then I said, what'll I wear? And they said, don't worry, we'll make a special tuxedo that's big enough for your incredibly large penis. Their words. Their words. Not fools on that. They wised up. And I said, okay, if you say so. All this is, of course, happening as the Trump administration sends National Guard troops to D.C., and they're warning that they won't stop there.
Look at Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston, and New York. They're also facing record numbers of homicides and violent crimes. I think it's natural for us to look at, could Washington, D.C., if we can really clean this up, could that be a blueprint and a model for other communities around the country?
Yes.
It's something I think President Trump wouldn't shy away from, but we'll have to stay tuned.
But I don't want to stay tuned. If I have to watch the reality show, I want to binge it all in one sitting and then not think about it again until the reunion show airs on Bravo 6 months from now. And the host says, Donald, we have a surprise guest for you. Please welcome your former best friend. That's right, he's back from the dead, Jeffrey Epstein. And then, you know, Jeffrey's like, I know, Donnie, it's me, I was never dead. I have no idea how Jeffrey Epstein talks. I'll have to, Donnie. I was never dead, Donnie. You sound the same. People only know me from pictures and videos without sound. Also, no one likes crime. No one likes crime, and we're all in favor of less crime. But it is just untrue that big cities have record crime rates.
Crime is dropping nationwide in pretty much every major city, but the biggest drops are in murder rates. I mean, look at those numbers. Down by more than 50% in New Orleans.
Murders in Chicago have fallen more than 30% from the same time last year. Homicides have also dropped significantly in major cities such as Philadelphia and Los Angeles.
Crime is down in Philadelphia this year, which is amazing because Philadelphia also won the Super Bowl this year. And historically, when a Philly team wins the championship, it turns into the purge for like 24 hours. So bravo to the city of brotherly love. The reality is that crime is down in major cities. And if you really want to be a stickler about it, you might even want to mention that violent crime rates are higher in some red states.
8 out of the 10 states with the highest murder rates in 2020 voted for Donald Trump.
Oklahoma had 342 homicides. That's a rate of 9 deaths per 100,000. If you go over to California, their homicide rate is 6.1. and New York's rate even lower at 4.7. In fact, there are many, mainly Republican-led states that you see here in dark colors that have much higher homicide rates than many traditional Democrat-run states.
Is it because Dick Wolf never gives any of those states their own law and orders? Because having a law and order can be a real deterrent. I mean, the only police I can even remember from a red state TV show never caught anyone because the Duke boy's car was just so much faster. The point is, the right has created this myth about crime in big cities that isn't true. It's a playbook Republicans have used for decades, and Trump repeated it in 2024.
We're going to be focusing on crime in the cities. If you look at the 25 worst places, they're just about all Democrat-controlled. We have a country now that's overridden with crime. Crime is at an all-time high. Our country is a crime pot.
Crime pot. You know, he's so weird because sometimes he says things like groceries. Not a lot of people were saying the word groceries before me. And it's like we all say groceries. And then other times he throws out crime pot and he just like rolls by it like it's just some well-known phrase we all use. Our country's become a crime pot, a bowl of burglary, and this is a bucket of murder. By the way, there actually was a nationwide crime wave in the last few years. You'll never guess who was president when it happened. Oh, you guessed already because of my sarcastic tone? All right, well, just play along.
Violent crime, particularly murder, the most serious violent crime, did see an unprecedented spike in the year of 2020 when, again, you might recall, Donald Trump was president of the United States.
Now, caveat, that was the first year of COVID, and things were gnarly all over. But still, I don't think Trump would give Biden the same credit. It's not like in 2021, Trump was on record saying, we got to give Joe a break. He took over a real show. COVID or not, violent crime spiked under Trump. It was such a big jump, I'm surprised he didn't brag about it. We have more murders than we've ever had before. They're the best. We've got the best murders. We've got shootings, stabbings. We're throwing people off buildings. We're bringing that back. No one was doing it. That was why I was on the roof last week. I was looking for a good place. A good place to give somebody the chuck. So there was a crime wave under a Republican president, and red states have worse crime rates than blue states. That's the reality. But in a clear sign that this is all just theater, Trump is threatening only to send the National Guard to cities governed by Democrats.
We have the majority, so we're going to vote it in as Republicans, and we're going to do something, and that's going to serve as a beacon for New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and other places all over the country. We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem.
All right, first of all, how dare you say New York has a problem? New York has way more than just a problem. We got plenty of problems, bro. Housing, affordability. Both of our baseball teams are in the pits. We had to bring in a rat czar, for God's sakes, a real rat czar. We have a major dog owners refusing to pick up their dog problem. I would never support sending the National Guard to New York unless it's for that, you know. Gave the troops just little poop bags instead of weapons. I would say, get to work, boys. The myth of urban crime is central to the right's worldview. For years, they basically made it their whole thing to be afraid of cities. Trump's current transportation secretary keeps going on Fox News to rag on the New York City subway.
It's dangerous to ride the subway in New York.
They force those people into the subway, and the subway's not safe.
The New York subway is dirty. There's violence, there's criminals. If you want to have people take the subway, make it clean, make it safe.
It's dangerous. It's dirty. The American people expect their subways to be places where they can come in and out of cities and do it safely. And by the way, wouldn't it be nice if it was clean?
Buddy, if you're trying to scare tourists out of taking the subway, I'm here to tell you it ain't working. If I want to make sure I can get out at my stop, I have to get up 2 stops early and just start making my way through a sea of JanSports and just pray nobody asks me how to get to the M&M store. There are so many European tourists on the subway in the summer that at the end of a 10-minute ride, I can speak conversational German. And I just want to make one thing clear to Sean Duffy. Only New Yorkers are allowed to on the New York City subway. I mean that figuratively and sadly sometimes literally. We are allowed to complain because we actually have to ride it. All we do at this show is complain about the subway. You know how many times we had to start taping the show late because the writer of this segment was stuck on the F train? Do you know how embarrassing it is to have to explain to, say, Vanessa Kirby, hey, sorry to make you wait. Sal got off the F train because there were signal problems at West 4th Street, but then the B broke down, so he tried to take the R from Harold Straight, but that turned into a Q. At least we think that's what happened. He called us from a rickshaw that's just blasting Black Eyed Peas. Back to the point. The subway is safe. Could the subway be safer? Of course. Could it be faster or cleaner? Of course. But the reason it breaks down so much is everything's 100 years old and politicians keep stealing the money we need to fix it. We had a governor who repeatedly raided the MTA budget for dumb reasons, like when he spent $100 million on decorative towers for MTA bridges and $30 million on blue and yellow tiles for the MTA's tunnel. I've never once cared what color the tiles are while driving through a New York tunnel. If I'm in a tunnel long enough to notice the color of the tiles, it's because I'm stuck in traffic muttering obscenities in front of my kids. Oh, good. Oh, good. That's great. This jamoke is going to try to change lanes. And then they're always like, Daddy, what's a jamoke? And I'm like, it's a guy who's not smart enough to be a jabroni. That's what congestion pricing is all about, raising money to fix the subway. And New Yorkers love it. The number of vehicles is down by 11%, delays are down by 25%, and honking and vehicle noise complaints declined by 45%. I didn't even know they tracked honking in Manhattan. So that's like someone's job. Like there's a dude who like stands on 42nd Street, he's just got a clipboard, he's just counting the honks. Okay, that's one. Okay, that's two. Hey, whoa! I can't count that fast, you jabokes. I'm not one of those Einstein jabronis. Not one of those beautiful mind jabronis. Trump doesn't want to fix problems in big cities because he loves problems in big cities. He loves problems anywhere that can distract from his problems. And he definitely has problems. His polling numbers are not great, and his MAGA base is questioning his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Voters are starting to suspect that the Trump administration might be a
crime pot.
Let's get a closer look. Hey guys.